Alright guys, here we go with our very first lesson. We are in lesson 1-1 and we're talking about a plan for problem solving. So in this section we're going to talk about our 4-step plan, which would be to understand, plan, solve, and then check. So in our understand step, you're going to read the problem quickly to gain a quick understanding of it. And ask yourself questions like, what facts do I know or what do I need to find out? And then ask, is there enough information to solve the problem or is there extra information? So that's all in our understanding step. In our planning step then, we're going to do things like reread the problem to identify relevant facts, determine how the facts relate to one another, make a plan and choose a strategy for solving it. Remember, there could be several strategies that you can use, and then estimate what you think the answer should be. Once we've planned everything out and estimated what we think our answer should be, we're going to actually solve the problem. So now we're going to go back and actually use that plan that we came up with, and remember, if your plan doesn't work, revise it or make a new plan. Never just stop because it didn't work. And finally, we're going to check the problem. Always make sure you reread the problem and just determine, is there another solution or does your solution actually make sense? Examine your answer carefully. Ask yourself things like, is my answer reasonable or close to my estimate? And also, does my answer make sense, like I said before? If your answer is not reasonable, make a new plan and solve the problem another way, or go back and just recheck your work to make sure you didn't make any silly mistakes. Then finally, you may also want to check your answer by solving the problem again in a different way. Okay, so there's our 4-step plan. We're going to go through a couple examples here. So our first one, the tower of a free fall ride at an amusement park is 251.5 feet tall. The ride begins to free fall from 18.9 feet below the top of the tower, and the brakes are applied 41.4 feet from the bottom. How long is the free fall portion of the ride? Okay, so we read it through quickly. Now I want to go back and highlight some important information. So I see that the ride is 25.1 feet tall, and then it begins its free fall, so begins 18.9 feet below the top of the tower, and the brakes, so it slows down 41.4 feet from the bottom. And then finally, what is the problem asking? How long is the free fall portion of the ride? So we think about an estimate. Okay, so our ride is about 250 feet tall. Free fall begins about 20 feet from the bottom. So far, we've taken away 20 feet of our free fall. So we're at about 230 feet. And then the brakes apply approximately 40 feet from the bottom. So again, we're taking away from that free fall, so subtracting. So we have about 190 feet of free fall. Okay, so now that I have my estimate, we actually kind of came up with our plan in doing our estimate. We see that our plan is subtraction. So to find our actual, the ride is actually 151.5 feet. And it starts its free fall 18.9 feet from the top. So if we subtract that, we are now at 232.6 feet of free fall. But then we have to remember again, the brakes are applied exactly 41.4 feet from the bottom. So again, we're subtracting. Gives us 191.2 feet of free fall. Okay, so there's our exact answer. Now keep in mind another strategy. Sometimes it helps to draw a picture if you don't know where to start. So if I think about the entire structure is 251.2 feet. It starts its free fall (18.9 feet from the top), and the brakes are applied 41.4 feet from the bottom. So what we're really looking for is this distance in between. So here's our free fall. So if you didn't see where to start, if you drew that picture out, you would see here's our total, but I only want this portion in the middle, so we would subtract 18.9 and 41.4. But again, that's what we already did to get our actual answer of 191.2 feet. Okay, so our next problem. Mel used half of her film to take pictures of her dog. Then she took 10 pictures of her cat. She has 14 exposures left before she runs out of film. For how many exposures was the film originally? Okay, so there's our quick read through. Now, if we go back, she used half. So that would mean that we are dividing by 2. And then she took 10. So took would mean subtraction. We're taking away from our total. And she has 14 exposures left. So in this case, we would kind of have the final answer, and we need to work backwards. Remember, when you work backwards, you would do the opposite. So if she starts with 14, she took away, so the opposite of taking away would be to add 10. So before she took pictures of her cat, she would have 24 pictures. And then if she used half to take pictures of her dog, so this is the half, so we would multiply by 2, leaving us with a beginning of 48 exposures. So in this case, we kind of made the plan as we worked through because we highlighted all of our pertinent information at the very beginning, so we knew what to look for. Did not take a lot of work. It was pretty quick and easy. All right, so that's all the notes that we're going to be doing together. So now we have the problem that you want to try by yourself. Okay, so Jackie wants to take out an ad in the newspaper for her upcoming garage sale. She can buy a 4-line ad for $4.35 that will run for 3 days. If she wants to spend no more than $15 on advertising, how long can she advertise? So now for this problem, you do not have to write it down, but you must show work. When I come around and check your notes tomorrow, I will be looking for some work, not just an answer. But again, you do not have to write the entire problem down. Okay, so go ahead and pause that, work out this problem, and then you are done with lesson 1.